All right. So diving into this immunotherapy research you've been looking at, this article on CD200,
Fascinating.
it is fascinating. This protein, it's like a key, right?
Huh.
To understanding how cancer cells can evade, like how
Yeah.
they can be so stealthy.
It's true. They really they have this incredible ability to really evade and even disarm our immune system.
Uh-huh.
And it's not always by attacking it directly. It's more like this like a cunning game of hide and seek.
So sneaky. And CD200, that's like their camouflage.
Exactly. You can almost imagine CD200 as this don't eat me signal, right?
Okay.
That's plastered on the surface of the cancer cells.
Mm.
And this signal interacts with a very specific receptor on immune cells. It's called CD200R.
Okay.
And it essentially tells the immune cells to stand down.
So so it's not even just that our immune system is missing the threat, it's being actively told to ignore it.
Yes,
That is wild. No wonder it can be outmaneuvered sometimes.
absolutely.
But this whole signaling pathway, it's not always a bad thing, is it?
Yeah, you're right. So in a healthy body, this pathway is actually essential for regulation. It
Mhm.
prevents the immune system from kind of going into overdrive and attacking our own cells.
Right, right.
The problem is cancer has kind of figured out how to exploit this for its own protection.
Oh, of course, of course. So it's
Yeah.
like so many things in the body. It's all about balance.
Yeah.
But knowing how sneaky this CD200 signal is, what are researchers doing to kind of fight back? I mean, this OX90 therapy that you were talking about, that seems like it might be a game changer.
It really might be. So OX90 is what's called a monoclonal antibody, and it's designed to block CD200.
Okay.
So it's essentially jamming that don't eat me signal, preventing it from reaching those immune cells.
Oh, wow.
You're essentially flipping a switch. You're turning the immune system's kind of ignore signal into a seek and destroy command.
Wow. That's incredible. But it can't be quite as simple as just unleashing the entire immune system. I mean, there's got to be different cells with
Yeah.
different roles to play.
Absolutely. Think of your immune system as like this complex army with, all these various specialized units.
Yeah.
And so OX90, it primarily targets those that are kind of on patrol duty, right?
Yeah.
Making sure they can properly identify and then target those disguised cancer cells.
And the research on this so far, it's looking promising.
Very promising. So preclinical studies using OS90 have shown, really remarkable anti-tumor activity,
Okay.
particularly in cancers like leukemia, breast cancer, and melanoma, which are known to be very difficult to treat.
Those are some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And each one of those presents unique challenges, right?
Absolutely.
What is it about OX90 that makes it potentially effective against these specific types of cancer?
Yeah, that's a great point. So let's take melanoma as one example.
Okay.
Melanoma is notorious for its ability to actually suppress immune responses, in the environment immediately surrounding it.
Really?
And OX90's ability to disrupt the CD200 signal seems to be particularly effective in this context.
Huh.
And then, with leukemia, you're talking about a blood cancer where the immune system is often already compromised.
Right.
So boosting its inherent ability to recognize and attack those cancerous cells, that's really critical.
Yeah. It sounds like this could be a major breakthrough, especially for those cancers that haven't responded well to some of those more traditional treatments. But I understand OX90, it's not really designed to be a solo act.
Right.
There's talk about combining it with other therapies.
Precisely. So think of OX90 again as kind of disarming that don't eat me signal.
Wow.
But then we can potentially take it a step further by combining it with other immunotherapies like checkpoint inhibitors.
Right.
And these inhibitors, what they do is they release another set of brakes on the immune system, specifically targeting T cells. And these T cells, they're like the specialized seeker destroyer cells that are really crucial for eliminating those cancerous cells.
So it's a two-pronged approach then. First, you got to reveal the cancer cells that are hiding in plain sight, and then give your immune system the tools to take them out.
Exactly.
Wow. What a strategy.
It's an amazing strategy.
This is incredible. But I'm also curious about something that you touched on earlier, this idea of immune cell reprogramming.
Right.
That sounds like science fiction.
It almost does, but it's an area of research that has just incredible potential. We're talking essentially manipulating the tumor's environment to try to shift that balance of power. So imagine these macrophages, right? They're these big amoeba-like cells, and they're patrolling that tumor environment. They're like security guards.
Okay.
But they can be tricked by cancer's disguises. So they can either eliminate threats, or if they buy into that whole "don't eat me" signal, they can actually protect the tumor.
Oh, wow. So they're like double agents within the immune system itself.
Yeah.
That's both amazing and terrifying.
Well, it highlights the complexity that we're really dealing with here.
Yeah.
But here's the exciting part. So researchers believe that by blocking CD200,
Right.
we could actually reprogram these macrophages.
Oh.
Flipping their allegiance, right? From tumor supporter to tumor attacker.
It's like turning the enemy's own security forces against them.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It's really amazing stuff.
Talk about turning the table.
Yeah.
But with something this groundbreaking, I mean, there have to be challenges as well, right? I mean, what are some of the hurdles that researchers are facing in this area?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is something called tumor heterogeneity.
Okay.
And essentially that means that not all tumors express CD200 at the same levels.
Okay.
So some cancer cells might be like waving this giant "don't eat me" flag, while others are much more subtle about it.
So for some cancers, blocking CD200 might be incredibly effective.
Right.
But for others, it might not be enough to really make a difference.
Yeah, you got it.
Right.
And then of course there's always the challenge of potential side effects.
Right.
CD200, it's not only found on cancer cells, it's on healthy cells too.
Oh, right. Of course.
So there's always that risk of unintended consequences when you start, tinkering with the immune system in this way.
Right. You don't want to accidentally unleash the immune system so much that it starts attacking healthy tissue.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's got to be a delicate balance to strike.
It is. And so figuring out, the optimal dosage, the optimal combination strategies, that's really crucial.
Right.
Researchers are, really working hard to find that sweet spot to try to maximize those anti-tumor effects while minimizing those risks.
It sounds like a thrilling but delicate area of research.
It is.
But despite these challenges, I mean, this research into CD200 and therapies like OX90, it feels incredibly hopeful. I mean, I can hear the excitement in your voice. Is that a shared feeling in the scientific community?
Oh, absolutely. It's palpable,
Yeah.
The field of immunotherapy is really buzzing right now. I mean, we're not just talking about, managing symptoms anymore. We're talking about potentially really transforming how we treat cancer from the ground up.
Wow.
Moving away from simply trying to kill cancer cells and instead harnessing the body's own defenses to do the job.
It's a complete paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like teaching the body to heal itself.
It really is.
It's incredible. It's inspiring.
It is incredibly inspiring. And while, we still have so much to learn and there are certainly hurdles to overcome.
Yeah.
The future of this research, it really is incredibly promising. We are unraveling the intricacies of the immune system and really kind of starting to understand its full potential for eradicating cancer.
You mentioned earlier the complexities of treating certain types of cancer. You specifically mentioned leukemia.
Right.
What is it about OX90 that makes it a potential game changer for this particular disease?
So leukemia is particularly challenging because it affects, the blood and bone marrow.
Right.
And these are essentially the factories of your immune system.
Okay.
And so these cancerous cells, they can really suppress and outmaneuver those healthy immune cells.
Oh.
It makes it very difficult for the body to fight back effectively.
Right.
And that's why OX90 is so promising in this case, because by disrupting that CD200, that "don't eat me" signal, we're giving the immune system a fighting chance. It's like we're restoring the communication lines. So those specialized seeker destroyer T cells, those specifically the CD8 plus T cells,
Right.
they can actually recognize and eliminate those cancerous cells.
So it's not just about boosting the immune system. It's about making sure it can actually see and target the enemy properly.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And what's even more exciting is that therapies like OX90, they could potentially be even more effective when we start combining them with other treatments like chemotherapy or radiation therapy.
Oh, interesting. So instead of using those treatments kind of separately, you could use them together, like in a more multi-pronged attack.
Exactly.
How would that work?
Well, imagine this. So chemotherapy, it weakens the cancer cells.
Okay.
And then OX90 swoops in and unleashes the immune system to really kind of deliver that final blow.
Oh.
Or we could, we could combine OX90 with radiation therapy, which, sometimes can actually make cancer cells more recognizable to the immune system. Like we're putting a target on their backs.
So many possibilities.
I know.
This research could lead to like entirely new personalized treatment protocols, tailored to each patient and their specific type of cancer.
Exactly.
It's incredible to even think about. But this whole conversation, it makes me wonder, what other tricks might cancer cells have up their sleeve? You mentioned earlier that CD200 is like a "don't eat me" signal. I mean, what if there are other signals that we haven't even discovered yet?
That's the million-dollar question. It really is.
Yeah.
CD200 might just be, one line in cancer's playbook.
Right.
There are likely other mechanisms, other signals, other disguises that we're just, we're just beginning to uncover.
So it's this constant game of cat and mouse.
It really is.
Between the immune system and these cancer cells, with researchers trying to tip the scales in our favor.
Exactly. And the more we understand these, these really intricate mechanisms, the better equipped we'll be to develop, even more targeted and even more effective treatments. It's a remarkable time to be working in this field.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is.
And humbling, I think, at the same time.
Absolutely.
To think about all this. Well, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
But for our listeners who are like us, captivated by this research, where would you suggest they go to learn more?
Well, the National Cancer Institute is always a fantastic resource.
Okay.
They have a wealth of information on immunotherapy, and the latest research, and it's all presented, in a really accessible way for most people.
Right.
And then, for those who really want to kind of delve into the nitty-gritty, I always recommend, looking up some of the published studies on CD200 and OX90. I mean, they can be a little dense.
Sure.
But they offer this really unparalleled glimpse into kind of the forefront of this field.
Great suggestions. We'll be sure to include links to those resources in our show notes.
Perfect.
It's incredible to think that we're potentially on the verge of like a revolution in cancer treatment.
I agree.
And all thanks to unlocking these secrets of the immune system.
The immune system is really it's an incredible thing.
It is.
And the fact that we can harness its power in this way, it's really remarkable.
Well, this has been a truly mind-expanding deep dive.
It has.
Thank you for taking us on this journey.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. The potential of this research is it's something I'm incredibly passionate about.
And to our listeners, keep those questions coming. The pursuit of knowledge, the drive to really understand these complex issues, I mean, that's what fuels these breakthroughs. Until next time, keep exploring.